Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Mark.
I have a question for you. Did you write a Ceph file system deep dive document that's like 95 slides long back in the ink tank days?
I have no idea why.
Jan, or sorry, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Zheng?
Oh,
Zheng?
Zhang?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I have
sent
no
it.
idea why he emailed that out.
Okay, I don't know if you were on that email thread or not, but
No.
yeah, I'm trying to decide if this is actually like in any way still accurate or not.
Oh, I didn't look at it much. I'm sure it's still accurate though. There may be some
Okay,
caveats that we fixed, but none of the architecture's changed really.
okay. Good deal. I
I
know he's
guess.
done like a lot of work on the locking and like especially around the distributed cache, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, nothing's been merged there that changes it fundamentally. Cloud
Okay.
Elites, we have a purge queue now rather than having them sit in a straight directory. Uh,
Okay.
hard links work differently. And I don't know what's in that slide deck. I didn't look at it much. I was just
Okay.
like, oh,
Yeah,
that's a blast from the past.
yeah, it's like gigantic. I'm just kind of looking through it right now. It was actually good though. They've got like the MDS state machine is in here. That's good. Other random stuff. Cool. All right. Hopefully the folks from Core should be joining us soon here. There we go. All right, I anticipate a fairly quick meeting today unless someone jumps in that has something that they'd like to talk about. There weren't a whole lot of new PRs this week, just one from Igor that is looking at adding log allocation stats for like performance testing. Um, the deal here is that he's gotten reports of regression over time in some cases, so he wants to look at those stats to see exactly what's going on. So that's very useful. Uh, there were two PRs that closed. One from Redick for a buffer list, like a small buffer list change, I think. I think originally we were maybe going to wait until Octopus for that, but Kifu merged it. It must have been fine. Um, and then Igor, an old PR of yours for changing the auto tuning, the memory auto tuning for Blue Store, got closed by Stalebot, and that PR was actually, I think, made before we moved the everything into the priority cache, kind of into its own separate um, namespace and everything. So it's not super relevant at this point anyway. Is there? Do you want to do anything with that, or is that kind of okay to just leave closed at this point? Do you think? You're muted if you're trying to talk.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
So I think it can be closed. The primary driver for this PR was some failing test cases. So recently I tried to reproduce or rerun the same stuff, and it looks like it's not present anymore. So
Okay.
I can.
It's sure.
So let it stay in the closed state.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, and then there were two that I saw that were updated. It looks like you also updated your hybrid allocator earlier this week.
Not sure about any updates since last week. So
Okay.
it's actually pending review. And no more progress on. Well, maybe some rebase yeah, it seems it needed some rebase.
Okay. And then same thing with your memory reduction
Yeah,
PR.
yeah.
It looks like they just got rebased as well. Okay, and then that's basically it. Haven't had movement on anything else this week that I can see. Although I think folks are still diligently working on various things. I think Adam's still working on some things with his RocksDB sharding PR. Other Adam still has the objection sustained out there and a couple other things. Adam, any news on that?
It is just sleeping until after Octopus gets cut. Then it should be able to merge in after.
Okay, cool. Good deal. And then probably my stuff for the Blue Store cache to avoid double cache writes or double caching of O nodes will probably be reintroduced after the RocksDB cache sharding is merged. And after that is done, then I can go back and try to get the age-based binning code kind of reintroduced and a PR made for that and hopefully merged. So kind of a chain of things, of dependencies here, but hopefully we can start making progress on them again post Octopus. All right. So discussion topics for this week. I just have two quick ones. We're continuing to work on IO 500 testing of CephFS on the aficionados nodes. We're, I think, now somewhere around 12th place, maybe even getting close to 11th place on the 10 node challenge list. So we've seen a couple of improvements there. That's with 2x replication. We could do even better if we just drop down to 1x, which I think some of those scores are doing with other distributed file systems. So we're not doing bad. We could do a lot better, though, I think. I was able to track down the poor balancing we were seeing in the hard tests where they write lots of files from many clients to a single directory. That was due to the balancer attempting to do exports but failing the Ken WR write lock check on both the file lock and the nest lock. And so I've been trying to discuss with Patrick and the rest of the CephFS team what exactly that means, how to get around it. I had a first attempt, kind of a naive attempt at just experimenting with it that did a sleep and then would retry grabbing the lock. It sounds like that's probably kind of totally irrelevant because even when you sleep and retry it, if a cap has been revoked, the MDS can't process it, or at least that's the understanding or the impression I'm getting. So we'd have to do more than just sleeping there, I guess. But frankly, I don't totally understand it yet, so I'm still trying to get a better idea of how all of this works. Let's see, I did, as a matter of testing all this, see fairly high lock contention within the MDS between the different messenger threads and some of the other kind of more primary threads in the MDS for doing work. And based on the fuse testing from last week, that was horribly slow. I'm kind of looking at potentially writing a libcfs backend for MD test and IOR. They make it pretty easy to do so. There's actually an existing Rados backend that I didn't even know about, but it can't be used for MD test because you can't create directories or do searches or anything. It's just basically for writing, files as objects for IOR essentially. So it'd be very interesting, I think, to see how libcfs did without fuse attached to it. If it's fast or if it's not, how it compares to both the other existing front ends. So anyway, that was kind of all the update I had for IO 500. Any questions or thoughts on any of that? All right. The only other thing I've got is that we were seeing reports of manager slowness and CPU usage on the mailing list. And one of those users was able to get us a wall clock profile with GDB PMP when he was doing it, or when he was seeing issues. And that profile showed that we were spending a lot of time in dump OSD stats and then also some time in dump PG stats. And the manager underscore fin thread was basically totally busy, mostly doing that, but then also with the GIL and other random Python stuff. So in any event, that probably was pretty much the contributor to why it was doing a lot of work. The good news here is that David Zafman has a PR that we think will help pretty significantly. It sounds like it avoids calling dump OSD stats or dump PG stats when when only one of those things is required. I guess previously it would try to grab everything all the time. So hopefully that helps quite a bit, but we'll see. So that's all I have. Any questions on manager stuff? All right. Well, then, any other things people want to talk about?
Just one question. Do you have any insight on downsizing minalog size? Do we have any showstoppers? Any additional stuff to do to proceed?
Well, I guess probably the question in my mind then, Igor, would be, can we merge any of the things that any of the PRs that you've submitted in time for Octopus, do you think? Or do you think we should wait?
Don't think they are pretty large. I mean, these changes, hopefully they can be merged in Octopus time frame, but well, actually, well, as an author, I'm into merging that, so I'll be glad to hear from the community about that.
I think the biggest concern I would have was with that low sequential read case that you showed us last week, where it was like half of what it was prior. Do you remember that?
Not exactly. Let me show. Let me check. So, which case you are referring to?
I'm going to pull up your spreadsheet here.
Here's the link.
Okay. So on line 23.
23. I see. So large sequential reads. The fragmented.
And the same thing for 18.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else looks great.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do some additional investigation. What's happening there? But anyway, I think we can try to merge both hybrid allocator and deferred writes to Octopus, but maybe not enable them by downsizing this minalog size. Let's leave current defaults for now, which is 64K, but let's have this stuff included, maybe not enabled.
Sure. Josh, what do you think?
I think it seems like a reasonable thing to merge, either after Octopus and backporting, or maybe we could even consider for Octopus.
At least having the ability for people to be able to stud it be really nice because
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, we can make sure that the performance is even close to what it was with 64K min alloc size, but still be able to do these small allocations. I mean, it'd be huge, I think, for a lot of customers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Igor, I'm all for your plan. Definitely, if we can figure out what's going on with those reads, that'd be good. But it seems very reasonable to merge it in. Are there test cases for any, like the new allocator?
Anything about anything? Well, if this new allocator passes our regular allocator stuff, it has some own testing, but unit testing, so just allocator itself. There are some test cases for deferred writes, which is relevant for allocator, but well, nothing very specific to hybrid allocator for the whole OSD. Just unit testing.
Okay.
But well, speaking about hybrid allocator, it's the safest fix, I think, because it's actually it brings in some modifications to VL allocator, but well, this can be disabled at any time, and it's disabled by default. So this code doesn't run if enabled explicitly. So it's pretty safe to have it
Sure.
in the code base.
And it looks to me too like, assuming that we can get this read issue sorted out, it's often faster. So it's kind of a win in all ways, right?
Yeah, definitely. There are some benefits. Well, in fact, they are maybe much less visible in the whole stack. Oh, this is standalone blue stuff, but
Well, cool. Yeah, I mean, even as is, I guess, if it's not the default, we could probably just merge it. To me, I mean, it's slower on the reads, but if there's a subsequent PR that fixed that, it'd probably be fine, especially if it's not default. It'd be nice if we could figure that out first, but Josh, do you think that you'd rather get it in now for more testing, or wait until that's resolved?
I think if it's off by default, it doesn't matter too much. If we want to change the default later, then I think we want to do the more involved analysis to figure out the sequential reads that you're talking about before.
Sure. If we got it in now, we could actually try to get like a couple of tautology tests running that ran with this. I guess is what I was thinking.
That's certainly worth going through tautology either way.
Yeah. Igor, do you have access to our tautology cluster?
Well, I had it some time ago, but I rarely use it, and each time I come back, it's hard to recall how to use it.
I understand. I kind of have the same problem.
So I prefer not to use it most of the time.
All right. Well, let's maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe take a quick look, see if you can figure out the this like issue for, I guess it's random reads, 4 MB random reads, so big random reads.
These are these are big reads after some small overrides. So also there are some fragmentation of it. It's
Sure.
not the read which is slow, but it was the root cause somewhere before that. So
Sure.
we've got some additional fragmentation or whatever, which causes slowdown.
Yeah, I'm all for getting it in. So let's figure out how to get it merged and then get tested and see what we can do with it.
Okay, I'll spend a couple more days too.
Cool. All right. Anything else, guys? All right. Well, have a good week, everyone, and see you next week.
Thanks. See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.